Hey guys, in this video we're going to look at parallel lines and transversals, and we're going to see how when you have a pair of parallel lines and a transversal that crosses over them, how that affects the angles that are made. We have our first slide here is a graphic organizer that tells you for parallel lines and transversals, if you have these parallel lines and this transversal, the corresponding angles, which are congruent, are 1 and 5, 4 and 8, 2 and 6, and 3 and 7. So by definition, corresponding angles, such as 1 and 5, and all the pairs are here, are congruent. They're the same measure. Alternate interior angles are congruent. Those are going to be 4 and 6, and 3 and 5. Alternate means they're on either side of the transversal, and interior means they're on the inside of the two parallel lines. Alternate exterior angles are angles on the outside of the parallel lines, and they're congruent. Alternate exterior, that's going to be 1 and 7 and 2 and 8. And then consecutive interior angles are supplementary. We're going to call those 4 and 5 and 3 and 6. So if you need to, you can take this slide right here and you can print it off or copy it down, and you can refer to that. And I'm going to actually do that for this lesson. I'm going to just kind of keep it handy in case I need it, and then I'll refer back to it. All right, so first one we have here, we got some multiple choice, it looks like. Okay, this one says, which of the following best describes angles 1 and 14? So 1 and 14. Okay, that would be alternate exterior for those. Alternate exterior. They're on opposite sides of the transversal, and they are on the outside of the parallel lines and the exterior of them. Okay, next one. Which of the following best describes angles 8 and 10? Okay, these two, 8 and 10, are on the same side of the transversal, and they're in the interior, and we call those consecutive interior. Consecutive interior for 8 and 10. And if you need to, you can always look back, and consecutive interior are these, and those have the same types of positions here and here. All right, next one. 4 and 2. So here's 4 and here's 2. Actually, those are a vertical pair because a vertical pair of angles are formed by two intersecting lines. And so this one would actually just be a vertical pair. This one says 16 and 3. So here's 16 and here's 3. Okay, those would be alternate interior because they're on different sides of the transversal and they're in the interior of the parallel lines. So alternate interior for those. Okay, this one, 15 and 8. So here's 15 and here's 8. The problem we're going to have with these are they're associated with different transversals. These are the parallel lines, but this 15 is on this transversal and 8 is on this transversal, and they're not together at all. So they don't have a name. So that would be none of these for that one. 14 and 3, here's 14 and here's 3. Okay, same position here, and we call those corresponding. All right, now we have this, and I'm actually going to get a different marker here. Let's see if I can find one that's a little bit more color to it. Let's try this one. If the measure of angle 3 is 48, what's the measure of angle 13? Okay, so if 3 is 48, think about it. 16 down here is going to be 48 also because they're alternate interior. Now, 13 and 16 form a linear pair. They're going to be supplementary. So really all I need to do is take 180 minus 48. 180 minus 48, and that is going to, try it again, 180 minus 48 equals 132. So 13 should be 132 degrees. Okay, let's try this one. If the measure of angle 10 is 120, then what's the measure of angle 15 right here? If 10 is 120, and we want to know what 15 is right there, we don't really have a relationship between them. So we don't really know what 15 is going to be, because if 10 is 120, 15, I have no idea. They're on different transversals. So this one would be not enough information. Yeah, there's really not enough information to figure out what 15 is if you know 10. Now, if you know 10, you can get any of these, but not these over here. All right, name all angles congruent to 12. I'm going to circle them. So here's 12, okay? And I'm going to circle all of the angles congruent to 12. So first of all, I know that 10 is, because that's a vertical pair. I know that 5 is, because these are corresponding, and these are an alternate interior, and those are congruent. I know that 7 is congruent, because these two make a vertical pair, and these are alternate exterior. So all the angles congruent to 12 are going to be angle 10, angle 5, and angle 7. All right, this one says name all angles supplementary to 3. So here's 3. So we want all of the ones. And what I might do here, which is interesting, I might go ahead and just mark the ones that are congruent. 1 is congruent to 3. 14 is congruent to 3. And 16 is congruent to 3. All of those are congruent, which means all of the other ones are going to be supplementary. So I'll use purple for those. Okay, so here's 3, linear pair, supplementary, linear pair, supplementary. 15, alternate or consecutive interior, supplementary. And then these two, because these are congruent, will be supplementary. So angle 2, angle 4, angle 13 and 15. So all 4 of those would be supplementary to 3. All right, now we have some interesting ones, like this one. Okay, so this one says, find the value of x in the diagram below. All right, well, if I look at my diagram here, I have this angle sitting right here smack in the middle of these two parallel lines. So I don't really know what to do yet. One thing I can do is I can draw what's called an auxiliary line, which basically is going to be extending this. And I can extend this one too in the other direction this way. Like this. And then another thing I can do is I can make a third parallel line that's parallel to the first two that goes through this point right here. So I'll try to make this look as accurate as possible. All right. So let's see what I can do here. Now, this line is a transversal to these two parallel lines, and this is a transversal. Okay, so let's go around the figure and label some stuff. This one's 138, okay? That means this is 138 and this is 138, right? So if this is 138, then this one has to be also 138 degrees. Okay, if that one's 138, then this one, if I take 180 basically from it, 180 minus 138 is 42. That means this one has to be 42. All 3 of these angles in this little triangle right here have to add up to 180. So if I take 180 minus 42 equals, then minus another 45, I'm going to get the third one, and that's 93 degrees right there. Okay, that one's 93. Let's see what else I can get. All of this one is a vertical pair, so this would be 93. If this is 138, all of this is 138, right? This is 42, which means this is 42. I can now get the third one over here because this is a straight line, and all 3 of these add up to 180. So I can actually do this. I can do 180 minus 42 minus 93, and I know now that this one's 45. But I already knew that because these two would be alternate interior angles. So that's pretty cool. All right, so now let's go up to the 138 and see what we can do. If this one's 138, then this one would have to be 42 to be supplementary. If this one's 42, then that would be 42. If this one's 42, then this one will be also, because they are alternate interior. So it looks like X is going to be the sum of that 42 degree and that 45 degree angle. So X is equal to 42 plus 45, and that's going to give you 87 degrees. Okay, it looks kind of tough, but actually that really didn't turn out to be too bad. 87 degrees. All right. Now this one, it says find the values of X and Y in the diagram below. We have a trapezoid. Trapezoid has one pair of parallel sides. So that means that if I take my ruler here, I can extend these sides if I need to gain some information about what's going on here and what's related. So let's go ahead and do that. And then this. Okay, so what I have then is I have this transversal and these two parallel lines, which means 12y and 6y. Those two angles have to be supplementary because they're consecutive interior. So 12y plus 6y has to equal 180. So we have 180y equal to, or no, I'm sorry, not 180y, 18y. 18y is equal to 180, and that means that y has to be equal to 10. So now I know that the value of y is 10. These two have to be 90 degrees also, because these two are consecutive interior. So these two guys have to be the same, or have to be supplementary. So if that one's 90, then that one has to be 90. So 7x plus 6 equals 90. Okay, so if we subtract 6 on both sides, you get 7x is equal to 84. If you take 84 and divide it by 7, you get 12. So the value of y is 10, and x is 12 in that diagram. Okay, next one. This one we have a parallelogram, it looks like. And so for this one, these two guys are going to be equal, and then these two guys are not, I'm sorry, supplementary, and these two are supplementary. So we can do, let me write this a little bit bigger this time. 9x plus 20x plus 6 is equal to 180. Okay, so we got 29x plus 6 is equal to 180. So 29x is equal to 174. So 174 divided by 29 is 6. Okay, same thing for these two. 18y plus 8y minus 2 is equal to 180 because it's supplementary. 26y minus 2 equals 180. 26y is equal to 182. So now we take 182 divided by 26 and we get 7. So x was 6, y was 7 for that one. Okay, here we have another one, another trapezoid. This time we have, let's see, let's take this transversal and extend it a little bit. Sometimes this helps just to kind of see how these angles are related sometimes. Okay, this one, let's go like this. And extend this one a little bit. And we'll extend this one a little bit just to see. Okay. All right, so let's see. Over here, we're going to have 5y and 17x and another 14x are going to equal 180 over here because these are supplementary. Yeah, I'm going to have a problem with that. These three are going to add up to 180 because they're all inside of a triangle, but you have two x's and a y. That's not going to work. Now, you do have this guy here and this one. Those are alternate interior angles of these two parallel lines and this transversal. So these two should be equal to each other. So 5y should be equal to 6y minus 5. So if I subtract 6y from both sides, I get negative y is equal to negative 5, and therefore y is equal to positive 5. So I got my y value. Okay, so if y is 5, that means all of this is going to be 5 times 5 is 25 degrees. This is going to be 25 degrees also, not a problem. Okay, a couple things I can do. Now. I can take now these two and this and add it all up to 180, or I can take all of these and add it up to 180. It's the same thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 14x plus 17x plus 25, and I'm going to set that equal to 180 and solve. So 14 plus 17 is 31. If I move the 25 over, 180 minus 25 is 155. If I take 155 and I divide it by 31, I get 5. So it turns out that x is equal to 5. I skipped a couple steps, but you should be able to fill in the blanks on that one. Okay, this one. Let's see what we got here. 30. That means this has to be 30 here also right there. Those would be alternate interior. And then, so these two have to add up to 180 because they're supplementary. So we could do 12y minus 6 plus 30 is equal to 180. Okay, so 12y, that'd be plus 24 equals 180. So let's do 180 minus 24 to move it over, and then divide by 12, and we get 13. So y is going to be equal to 13. If y is 13, not a problem. 12 times 13 equals 156 minus 6, and we now have 150 for this, which we knew it was going to be 150 because 150 plus 30 is 180. So not a problem. So therefore, if this one is 150, then this one is 15x. That's 150 also. So now I can do 15x is equal to 150 because they're alternate exterior, and x is equal to 10. All right. Here we have this one. These two do add up to 180. And by the way, they're supplementary, but if you take the angles of the sides of the triangle and you extend them a little bit, sometimes you can tell a little bit better about what's going on. We do have a couple parallel lines here, so I will extend these a little bit. All right. So let me extend this one too, just so we can kind of see what's going on. Okay, so these two are congruent because they're corresponding. We could definitely set these equal to each other. We can't do anything with those yet because there's two variables in there. So what I would do is do 6x plus 3 equal to 5x plus 5, and then solve that. So subtract 5x, x plus 3 is equal to 5, subtract 3, and it turns out that x is 2. All right, if x is 2, that means this angle would be 10 plus 5 is 15 degrees. This should be 15 also. 6 times 2 is 12. Let's see, no, wait a minute. 6x minus 3. Oh, that's a minus 3, not a plus 3. Whoops. Let's go back and do this again. 6x minus 3 equals 5x plus 5. I thought that was a little small there. Let's get rid of that. Let's see, minus 5x. Minus 5x. X minus 3 is equal to 5. That looks better. Plus 3. Okay, so x is actually equal to 8. That looks a lot better. Okay, 8. So 8 times 5 is 40. 40 plus 5 is 45 now. Much better. which means this is going to be 45. 6 times 8 is 48, minus 3 is 45. Now, these two are going to add up to be 180, so now I can do 10y minus 5 plus 45 equals 180. Okay, so I can take 180, and these two together would be plus 40. Okay, so I'm going to subtract 40 from 180, and I get 140, then divided by 10, and I get 14. So y is going to be equal to 14 on this one. Sorry about that. This one, you have parallel lines and a transversal, and these two are going to be corresponding. So we know that when they're corresponding, they are congruent. So this time we're going to do 6x plus 9 equals 7x plus 3. Subtract 6x. 9 is equal to x plus 3. Subtract 3, subtract 3. And 6 is equal to x. And that's all we had to do, was find x. Okay, this time we have alternate interior, and we know that those are going to be congruent also. So we can do 8x is equal to 9x minus 11. So I can subtract 9x from both sides. Negative x is equal to negative 11. And then just change both sides, and x is equal to positive 11. That's pretty easy. Okay, we got a couple more like this. These two are going to be, actually, they should be pretty easy. So this one, let's do one more like this. So this time, I think last time, all I had to do, if I'm not mistaken, I didn't really have to draw all those lines. I think all I had to do was draw the middle one right there to make a third line like this, I believe. Okay, and then what I did, if this is 138, then this is 138, right? Okay, which means this little piece right there is going to be 180 minus 138, which is 42. If this one's 30, then this one's automatically 30. And so the whole angle right there is going to be 42 plus the 30 is 72. Yeah, so I didn't really need to draw all those lines. I just really needed to draw that third auxiliary line that's parallel to the other two, so I can now take advantage of all of my different types of angles that are congruent or supplementary. Okay, so that one's pretty good. Let's see what else we got here. Let's try this one. Okay, this one says find x plus y. So this time, let's see what we got. We got a 50 here, we got an x minus 1 and an x plus 1. We know that all three of these together, all three of these are going to make 180 because it's a straight angle. So if you want to, you can add them all up and set it equal to 180. So x minus 1 plus 50 plus x plus 1 equals 180. So the minus 1 and plus 1 cancel. We have 2x plus 50 is equal to 180. If you take 50 away from both sides, you get 130, then divide by 2, and x is going to be 65. Okay, so we now know that x is 65. So if x is 65, then that take away 1 would be 64. So that angle would be 64 degrees. If that's 4y right there, and these two are supplementary, then you can do 4y plus that 64 degrees equals 180. And then you can take 180 minus 64 when you move it over, then divide that by 4, and you get 29. And so your y value for this one is just going to be 29. You're asked to find x plus y. So x plus y for your final answer would be 65 plus 29 equals 94. All right. And then let's see, I think that'll about do it for this. Parallel lines and transversals, that pretty much covers everything that we need to cover for this one. Remember to like my video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and we will see you guys later. Bye.